All right, so we're back again. Scott, Nocon, Stephen James, and we are here for number six.
Yeah.
Number six. Here we go. Episode
Yeah.
six. Hope again, thank you guys for tuning in on the Instagram, on the YouTube. Again, we appreciate it. Again, if you tune
Absolutely.
in for a minute, and hopefully because of that, the short attention span theater, we are posting a number of shorts. So
Right.
definitely seen a lot of views on the shorts. So ideally, we can get a little snippet of the show. And if you like that little piece, then you can just follow the path to talking shh and subscribe and hit the little bell. And then that way, when a new video is posted, you will get an alert and you can check it out and see what everybody's talking about. They are
Yeah.
talking about it.
Which is
Good,
cool.
yeah, good or bad, don't care, but definitely getting some feedback. So again, we appreciate it. We love music. We love um, the live shows, which interesting enough is what we're going to be talking about here in a second.
Yeah.
But Stephen plays drums. I sing. I've owned guitars over the years, but I just they're sitting over there in the corner. I don't play them though. I should. Maybe I should make that a goal for the next year or two, just to get a little bit more
Heck yeah.
developed on that. But
Me too.
again, it's all things about music. We're going to throw in some movies and some other topics as we see fit. Again, we will have some
Uh-oh.
guests coming on soon. So we'll announce that and we'll get it going. So
Uh-oh. Stalling. The gremlins are here. Shit. It keeps stopping.
yeah,
Mm.
why do we have an
Oh,
unstable internet?
yeah. It might be me or I don't know.
It
Oh,
came
we're good
up.
now.
Yeah. All right.
I, I edit.
That's fine. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about this week top five metal shows
Mm.
in the 1980s.
Mm.
A lot of shows,
Oh,
club shows, arena
yeah.
tours,
Yeah.
theaters.
Yeah.
Again, focused on metal. And just in case, if you're tuning in and you're not the biggest metal fan, that's okay. Thank you for checking us out. But Steven is a huge U2 fan.
Yeah.
Um, Godsmack, I wouldn't call them metal. I would call them, hard rock, right?
Yeah. For
But
sure.
they definitely have had a very storied career. When we're recording this, you saw them last night in
Yes.
LA in more of a subdued acoustical setting, right? Is that what their tour is about? Or
Yes, yes and no. They did some acoustic and some of it was in your face,
okay, nice.
Godsmack. I like the whole idea of the put out a new video, I think recently called Truth, which is there's a little small documentary about Sully and him going through a breakup with the special woman that he had and how they were in the midst of recording their album and he had to take a break. As we've all been brokenhearted, life gets rough and took a 6 to 8 month break, came back and wrote this song, which was tough for him to do. But anyhow, uh,
Yeah.
I digress. What a great show.
No, awesome. Yeah,
What a
live
great show.
shows. Yeah, there
And
was. Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
please.
I was just going to say, just my most favorite part about Godsmack, not only is their music, but Sully Erna first started playing drums before he sang and did guitar. And
Okay.
Shannon Larkin, who's one of my drum heroes, and I'm sure many of you have seen a Godsmack where they do the drum duel between each other, and it's just phenomenal. So if anybody ever wants to see something kind of fun, watch or Google that Sully Erna and Shannon Larkin drum solo.
Okay. Awesome. So that was a most recent live
Yep.
concert experience. So let's roll back. Let's roll back a good
Yes.
40 plus years. And again, anywhere
Oh,
in that decade of the 80s, what is one of your top five metal shows?
um, wow. There's so many different ones. I'm gonna have to go with 1986 Judas Priest at the Sports Arena for Life Tour.
Okay.
Um, which was my very first Judas Priest show. I had recently been introduced to, well, I can't say recently, in the 80s. I really like Judas Priest. You know, we all know their hit songs and their commercial songs. But again, partially why I like Judas Priest is that he does those screams like Jeff Tate does, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And it was such an incredible show. It was like, wow, this is like just in your face heavy metal. Judas
Yeah.
Priest in the 80s. Like, you know, he even still had his hair. He didn't, it wasn't, it didn't, it was just that raw Judas Priest. You know, when I look back on it now, I'm like, that's when I like to see him because yeah, we talked earlier about how Rob doesn't hit those notes anymore. He tries and he does a phenomenal job and he still does and they still tour. But back then, his voice was just prime then. And
Absolutely.
and those vocals just pierced. I just remember going, wow, same thing. It just blew me back. Amazing.
No, absolutely. Um, yeah, for sure. And I was able to see Judas Priest a few times in the 80s, so I got to experience it. Uh, again, if I was ranking these, and I'm not,
No.
this one could be number one, but there's
Ooh.
a few here that could be number one. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
put it out there. Um, on the Live After Death, actually World Slavery Tour to be precise, but
Mm,
then recorded as part of the Live After Death
mm.
during the Power Slave release and tour. Uh, Long Beach Arena,
Yeah.
multiple nights,
Yep.
Iron Maiden. Twisted
Yep.
Sister was opening for this stretch,
Mm.
and again everything about it, and that is not too long ago. I have Live After Death. I've had it on CD for years, and I was at a record store and I was flipping through, and then all of a sudden I'll try to go grab it really quick if I can, but so I'm not falling off the chair if I go get it, but I went and got, I'm gonna do it real quick. I'm gonna make it quick.
Go grab it. Yeah. And I was actually went to one of those shows. I don't know that I went to the one that they recorded, but I was at one of those nights and it was so amazing. You know, Bruce Dickinson, and I don't remember if he did the same thing on the live thing, but he also was mentioning that, you know, how the Christian, yeah, look at that. Oh, stellar. Yeah.
I
Oh,
disappeared. Oh, look,
yeah,
see, I
you,
disappeared. Yeah.
yeah, it's got the green screen. And I remember specifically walking into that show and all the Christian, nothing against faith,
Yeah,
but back then the Christian movement was all about Iron Maiden, satanic, and this and that because they sing whatever they sing, and and I remember Bruce specifically saying to the audience, like, you know, that's all BS. We don't, that's not what we're
absolutely.
about.
Yeah.
We just write songs that have to do with that. I'm like, and as we get older, we think there's, you know, backward masking and this and that. It's like, stop already. It's just so
Yeah.
funny, so silly.
No, for sure. And I may have said 86, but pardon me, it was 85.
Yes, it was.
But again, phenomenal. A couple nights again, originally released, and I'm speaking specifically for Live After Death. 3 nights in Long Beach,
Oh,
which was the classic arena to go to. It's still there, right?
is it really?
I think so. It's
That was the best place to see
yeah.
metal shows.
Now I think the extent of their activities are home and garden shows.
Well,
But
you know,
during the day, that was that was the way to go. And yeah, the vinyl itself, which clocks in at, I got to do these because I can't see it. Yeah, I was going to say it's at 98 minutes long, Long
wow.
Beach Arena, and then the side four, and I'm referring to the vinyl. The vinyl is from
Yeah.
Hammersmith Odeon, but
Oh,
yeah, it's again, come on, Churchill's speech starting
yeah.
it, going right into Aces High,
Oh, what a great song.
and then throughout just scream for me Long Beach, and that was it. That is just one of the absolute best shows, best tours I've ever experienced, and I'm so just was so happy to be able to experience that.
One of the great things about Iron Maiden and Bruce Dickinson commanding an audience, I mean, to this day, how he brings his arms up and scream for me, and I mean, that guy, and I'm not sure what his age is. I'm sure he's a little bit older than us, but he runs around. He's in top shape. He's a commercial a certified pilot.
Hmm.
He flew them in a couple of their concert videos. I think one was Flight 666, whatever.
Yeah.
But Bruce Dickinson commands an audience in a way that I've never seen. I saw them in Los Angeles probably about 5 years ago, before Legacy of the Beast, and I think it was their recent album they put out. And he was looking up, it was in Los Angeles, and he was looking up at a group of people that didn't seem to be into it. And he was livid and talking a
Yeah.
wealth of crap. Like, I didn't come here to watch you guys sit on your, anyhow. And I'm just blown away by that guy. Paul Di'Anno, yeah, great voice for the punk rock version of Iron Maiden. But as soon as Bruce came in and Nico came in, it formed that true what Iron Maiden should be. Uh, and
Absolutely.
and that again, I didn't go the night they recorded, but I did go to one of those shows, and what a stellar show. What a stellar show.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's go on. I was actually fortunate to see Guns N' Roses in 1987 at the Palladium.
Okay.
I think it might have been right when Appetite came out. I
That
don't know
was
if
the
any,
year. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if
87.
anybody has been to the Palladium. I mean, it's a good sized club. I mean, it's bigger than, but packed, sweaty, hot, smoky, in your face. Guns N' Roses at their peak. You
Yeah.
know, they didn't have any of the drama going on. Axl's voice was in the pocket. There was no drama, as we've seen with the stories with Axl over the years. Um, it was amazing to be a part of that. And interestingly enough, the guys from Dark Angel were there. Used to be, well, I guess I couldn't say used to be. I would say still, but I haven't seen him in a while. But Brett Erickson from Dark Angel was there, and they were all with hanging out as a band. So it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. These guys are
Yeah.
here. I'm watching Guns N' Roses. Kind of cool. But yeah, that was an amazing show.
No, that's awesome. And I'm going to take your lead in from the Palladium and give my Palladium show.
Ooh.
So this was, let's see, the exact date, June 5th, 1987. Hollywood Palladium on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm.
Slayer
Oh,
with Dark Angel opening.
what?
So this was for me, again, you talk about the
Wow.
memories and Rain and Blood tour.
Oh,
Again, I brought them up before, but what stands out, and certainly the music and the the awe-inspiring feel of and Dark Angel is a fantastic band too. So, in that being able just to experience it. But I remember being down and this just goes back to because when I was a kid, and we've talked about this in future episodes where, what was I the smartest and sharpest tool in the shed? I'm sure I was fine, but probably not. And so you kind of do stupid shit. And in the category of stupid shit. We were down in the pit, actively in the pit.
oh.
And then you try to get it on the outside and kind of keep people moving along and all that. But at point in that, don't ask me how this even happened. A fire extinguisher went off.
Oh my
So in the
God.
pit,
Oh my
and
God.
did it fully kind of just spray in my face? And that's going to
Oh
be a sound
no.
bite. Spray in my face there if you want to make that a sound bite. But it did, and it was around there. I don't recall if they stopped the set. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And they just kept playing. But yeah, the Dark Angel as an opener. I've looked around and memory sometimes doesn't, it sometimes work, it doesn't. I've seen one posting that actually listed Flotsam and Jetsam as the opener, and that very well could be true. But I definitely remember Dark Angel and Slayer. Let me just run through the set really quick. Again, during
Yeah.
the Rain and Blood tour, kicked off Raining Blood,
Mm.
which years later they actually would end that their set in
Interesting.
future records. Angel of Death, Die by the Sword, Praise of Death,
Die
Criminally
by the Sword.
Insane, Necrophiliac, Aggressive Perfector, great
Wow.
cover. Black Magic, Captor of Sin, Reborn, Antichrist, Postmortem, Epidemic, Hell Awaits, Altar, Sacrifice, Jesus Saves. If that wasn't enough,
Another great
an
band, another great song.
encore, yeah, At Dawn They Sleep, and then a second encore, Chemical Warfare and Evil
Yeah.
Has No Boundaries,
Wow.
with the Raining Blood ending. So they kind of bookended that the sound of Raining Blood with the rain and all
But
that
and the
at the
thunder and all
beginning
that.
and
Yeah.
the end. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Fuck.
definitely
So
back in
cool.
'87.
So cool. Real quick, just an off topic with speaking of Tom from Slayer. I went, there's a guy that lived in my apartment building when I was growing up as a heavy metal kid, and he was a guitar player, and his girlfriend worked for Chrysalis Records, which I don't know if that still exists. If those of us that remember that label,
Yeah.
Armored Saint was signed to them, and I was invited to their first release party of their first album. And oddly enough, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I'm like, hey, I'm nobody. Just checking it out. It was fun music.
Yeah.
A lot of metal guys that I knew, and I just had to go to the bathroom, was having my time, and I was having a piss next to Tom Araya. It was
Nice.
like, you just look over, you're like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything to him, but it was just one of those moments where you're like, did this just happen? It's like, I'm sure everybody's like, oh, whoop-de-doo, but
No,
to me, it's
that's
kind of
awesome.
cool. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool. That's my starstruck moment of being with one of my idol bands, Slayer. I mean, what a
No.
great, and hopefully they play more songs. I'm sorry to get off topic. I know they're playing 2 shows, festivals, but hopefully
Yeah.
they do more, because I would kill to go see them.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, I've only heard it's going to be those 2 shows, but
Ah,
come on, come on, go on a proper tour. Again, I would see it. I'm not caught up at all in, well, you retired, you're done. No, that was a fantastic tour with Lamb of God and
oh,
Behemoth. And there's
yeah.
some other band on it. I saw them at the Forum for my last show, second to last show with them, and then I saw them play at the now defunct 5 Point Amphitheater
Oh, what a shame that got
over
closed down.
Great Park in
Yeah.
in Irvine. Again, most of it, I think, actually Testament opened up, maybe Anthrax. Then there was a Lamb of God, and it was perfect setting with Slayer playing in the rain, playing
Mm,
Rain and Blood, because
yeah,
it's
right.
an outdoor amphitheater essentially.
Yeah.
So that was great.
I really like that play. I've seen a few bands play there. I saw Slipknot play there. I saw Godsmack play there. What a great venue. It's too bad that got torn down. I'm not sure what the reasons are. So moving on to concerts, I'm going to move up to 1996 when Kiss did their reunion tour with
But
Ace
this is only
Frehley.
in the '80s.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
We'll
but
pat
that's
we'll
okay.
move it
Tell us
back.
about it.
We'll move it
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Um,
It was so good. It,
we'll
it
move
had
it
to
out.
go
It
into.
was so good. I wanted it to be in the 80s. Sorry.
Yeah,
I have an 8 there, and I realize it's 96, so we'll just edit this back out.
yeah.
Back to the 80s. And this isn't heavy metal, but I did actually get to go see Pink Floyd play
Okay.
at the LA Arena. And again, I know we're off topic a little bit, but to be at a Pink Floyd show was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. Well, other than the U2 show that I just saw, but
Yeah.
off topic, that was one of the greatest things I'd had a chance to see. So now we'll move back to
Perfect.
1982,
Perfect.
where I was fortunate enough. My brother took me to go see Rush Moving Pictures Tour, which I believe they call it X Stage Left in 1982.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I had been into Rush before that. My brother turned me on to 2112 back in the early mid 70s. I started playing drums in the mid 70s, and he was a huge influential uh, uh, for my music. And we're going to go on to another topic on another show about how it all got started. But
Absolutely.
uh, to see Rush live, and I know it's not heavy metal, but it's still something that was worth seeing, and seeing how perfect these guys have their craft nailed live. It's just it's just on point. There's not, you hear bands and we did it a couple of times. We played live and we miss a beat or we miss cue or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's just it's almost like you're watching an album live, but these guys are actually doing it. I know it's not criteria for heavy metal, but I wanted to throw that in as for a rock show. These guys had it down.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And again, we've talked about that on past episodes. So just really briefly, that's something, that's a band that I didn't get to see. So I'll check out as often as I can some live footage either on YouTube or it could be something on Amazon. Just pull it up and be able to experience it for sure. So next for me, and again, it's really hard, and that's why we're not doing a purposeful top five. We're just naming five. But this would have been the Ultimate Sin Tour in '86. Again, coming through Long Beach Arena. They played three night they meaning Ozzy,
Yeah.
with these upstart kids, Metallica. So
Wow.
Ozzy historically, certainly, and I guess Sharon to be more precise, really always pulled in like the next band, right? The next band that could break through. From Bon Jovi to Rat to Metallica to later in the early to mid 2000s, Korn and Deftones as openers for Ozzy. They always wanted to really kind of put down the ladder and have other bands climb up. And Metallica is one for sure. This was a June 13th, 14th, and 15th in '86, again on the Ultimate Sin Tour, and with as mentioned in our last episode, to me, the best metal record of all time, Master of Puppets. So in that, just that again, Ozzy was in peak form. He was fantastic during that tour. I think Jake E. Lee was still the guitarist on Ultimate Sin, right? And then Zach came on in the next record, if memory serves me right. And if I'm not, correct me, I'm fine. Put a comment, no worries. But yeah, this was good times for sure. Metallica with Ozzy.
Yeah. So we'll go back to the Kiss reunion thing. I actually did get to see Kiss in the '70s, which was underneath it, and I'm not sure why I referred to the '96 version. And Cheap Trick opened up for them of all
Okay.
bands,
Yeah.
which was 19, I think it was '76. It was kind of the Kiss Alive tour, Alive 2 tour. The songs weren't in the same order as the album, but to have Cheap Trick open up was like a really cool thing. Like I didn't really know who Cheap Trick was at the time, and then
Sure.
I got into them after that. I was like, oh, these guys are kind of cool.
Nice.
And to this day, they still play, and Robin Zander's voice is not changed. I mean,
No.
amazing voice, and now he has his kid playing with him, which is kind of cool. So can just go off of any path. Sorry, I
No.
apologize.
Good. All
But
good.
Kiss,
Yeah.
things that intrigued me about Kiss was, and believe it or not, it wasn't Peter Criss, the drummer, but it was Gene Simmons. And the things that he did was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Wait, where does that blood come from? Why is he
Yeah.
blowing fire out of his mouth? And it's basically, and I think I mentioned it a lot at a couple of shows before. It's basically going to see a rock and roll circus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I roundabout back to, yes, seeing Kiss in the very early days in '76. My brother was like, I don't want to go see this. I'm like, I do. So
That's great.
yeah. Anyhow.
So up next, 1988 entire tour, but again, where I saw this, so I was able to experience. And yes, we're back at Long Beach Arena.
Yeah, a great place.
Metallica now headlining on the Justice Tour with Queensryche
What?
supporting Operation Mindcrime
What?
in December. Multiple nights, all sold out. At this point, much younger, but pulled together my nickels and dimes and sat really, really close to the stage. Because again, coming off the previous Metallica record, loving that band, still loving that band to this day.
Yeah.
Queensryche, what they had done from the EP into the Warning, and we tend to kind of jump over this record, not purposely, but Rage for Order.
Yeah.
I think that's phenomenal. And that would have been another band or another show that I saw in the 80s as well. I saw them on the opening for AC/DC.
Wow.
So that was fun. But for this one, yeah, the next on my list, 1988, December, couple nights, Long Beach Arena, Metallica, Queensryche.
Interesting and awesome. I would have, if I'd have known, I probably would have gone. I probably, well, who knows back then.
Yeah.
I did get
Yeah,
to
what were
see
you
them.
doing in December of 88? Let's go back to that
Yeah.
day. Yeah. December
Yeah, right.
7th. Yeah.
I did see Master of Puppets at the Forum though when they toured that album, which was amazing. It was interesting too, is because uh, as soon as the lights went out, there were people pulling the foam off their seats and throwing them at people, and I was like, "What is going
Yeah.
on?" I didn't understand it, but kind of fun. And Lars did a really amazing solo, and then James got behind the drums and tried to do a solo on that. It was kind of fun. But Master of Puppets live at the Forum was a face melter. It was like you heard it live, or I mean, you heard it on the album, but when you see it live, you're like, oh my God, it was so good.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
good. So good. Amazing.
for sure. This the last one for me is more of a kind of a collection, and it's all grouped under Fender's Ballroom
Mm.
that was in Long Beach, which
Yep.
is now, I believe it's a Holiday Inn. Um,
Alrighty then.
so during the heyday, and Fenders, if you went, you know what I'm talking about. Uh, exact size, you probably put what, 1,000 people in there? You probably
Yes.
could. Yeah. Um, but some of the shows, and I just pulled up one, but Celtic Frost, Voivod,
Wow.
Megadeth, saw them at least a half a dozen times. Dark Angel, half a dozen times easily. Uh, there were some bigger shows. You talk about Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick played there, all in the same era. There
Yeah.
were tons of ska, tons of punk shows. It was just the place to go to. And so that in itself, as far as just, you know, being part of an emerging metal and thrash scene, seeing it develop, and one of the on the more odd scale that I handed over to you before we wrap up tonight, Stephen. So you go from the extreme of a Celtic Frost, of a Voivod on the same show, seeing Possessed packed to the gills,
Wow.
almost where you couldn't breathe, right? And it didn't have a real high ceiling, so
No,
it
I
didn't
remember.
take
I've been there.
much. To one night we went and go, well, let's go ahead, let's get there a little bit early and we'll watch Overkill. This was during their heyday.
Oh,
Um,
gee.
walk in, there's nobody there. The
What?
band, the band is playing. No one showed up for some unknown reason. We sit on the stage. It's the taking over. I think it was that tour with Overkill. We sat on the stage with two of my buddies. Weirdest experience that I can recall as far as a show with a national touring band. Makes no
With
sense
nobody there.
why no one showed up. It's almost like,
Uh,
are we supposed to be here?
yeah.
Guys, you're here. Thanks for paying, whatever, the $15. Take a seat. How about you,
Well,
Stephen? Yeah.
yeah, that's odd. I don't know for sure because my brain is wired differently now to try to recall. It's like a
Yeah.
like an old needs to defrag my hard drive brain. I want
Yeah.
to say that the band I was in, we played there once. It sounds familiar. That's odd. I don't know that I've ever experienced anything like that where you pay to go see a gig and nobody's there, because that's like, it's almost like, are people have cameras on me? Is this like a candid camera moment?
That's what it
What's
seemed like.
going
Yeah,
on?
I'm trying to find the flyer for
Mm,
that, and I don't. But go ahead and tell us about, because again, these guys were known, like they were on,
yeah,
they were on tours, and it wasn't anything that it was too shabby. They were on Atlantic Records.
yeah.
It was just wild. Yeah, Fender's Ballroom. There was, yeah, again, all the shows I saw there. So, how about you? What's your
Uh,
last one?
the last one that I can recall is seeing Iron Maiden again back in the 80s, and Vinnie Vincent Invasion opened for them. And I'm not sure what year it was. I'm sure it was probably 87 or 88. Um, and interesting enough, back in the day, and Iron Maiden now, for those that do or do not know, they don't have seats in the pit area, as they call it, or front of
Yeah.
the barrier. So it's like you're either getting smashed against the stage or you're out on the outskirts of it. But I had second row seats, center, and I was watching Vinnie Vincent Invasion play. I was like, wow, he's a great guitar player. Was, I don't know if still is. And as soon as Iron Maiden came out, and I don't remember the song they opened for, the seats they had back then were almost like as one. Like it was a row that they all folded down together and they
Yeah.
folded out together, and the entire row collapsed. And we were like underneath people and underneath chairs and getting smashed. And we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And as
Oh
soon as we
wow.
all got back up, we were just like, oh, we're back. Let's get back into it.
Yeah.
That was an amazing turn of events. It was wild. I don't think I've ever heard anything so crazy in my life, to get trampled underneath chairs, and I don't know how many people can sit in a row, 30 or 40, but
Right.
what a
No, that's
great
wild.
show
Yeah.
though. And Vinnie Vincent Invasion was, they were a good band, but Iron Maiden just wiped their ass with it. It was like, so you're like, we're just, we're here to really pay homage to the driving of heavy metal, European heavy metal, which is Iron Maiden, Obsidian
Absolutely.
Irons. Yeah, that was it. That was it. That was a shit.
No, I was trying to find it really quick, but
That's so wild, that a show you went to that had nobody there. I
yeah,
couldn't imagine that.
it's still like I couldn't find anything. It looks like, well, okay, it's pretty cool. You like, you concert archives, then setlist.com. It's pretty cool the amount of data that's on those two different websites. You can put in the bands, and if you don't even know the date, but you put in the city or the venue, then it'll pull back. It'll give you some of the fun stats.
Yeah.
Again, if you're looking for a way to burn 3 hours staring at your phone in bed one night when you can't fall asleep, you could probably just research bands that you've seen in the past and go through. I caught myself scrolling through because we talked about Dark Angel and a couple of our shows now, but just scrolling through on setlist.com, they listed um, tours from early 80s.
Yeah.
I remember catching myself, and about 20 minutes later, like, I got to stop looking at this. But it was interesting. It just, all the dates and the consistency. And they were a band that played Fenders fairly often, shows up in Hollywood for sure. So again, it's just a matter of brings back the memories, and that's what we hope that this show did, and certainly the preceding show as well. As think about, let us know what your top concerts were, and it doesn't have to be
Sure.
metal; it can be anything,
Yeah.
because again, those are those memories that really last a lifetime. And as you get older, you kind of have to go in the memory book, and sometimes having the old Google available to you, if you can trust what the information is, it'll spark that. But as always, Stephen, thank you for making the time. This is a fantastic show. As
Absolutely.
always,
Enjoy it
again,
always.
yeah, we're here for you guys. So again, find us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Spotify. If I failed to mention Spotify, we release a new show every Monday. So again, follow it, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, but we'll continue putting out the content, and we hope you enjoy it. We do it because we love it. We love the music. We love the topics.
Absolutely.
So we're here no matter what, but Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. See ya.